Welcome back to Cox Financial Coaching, where we learn how to budget and how to pay off debt. I've shown you in previous videos how to do a manual written budget, which is what I recommend everyone start off with. Put it down on paper, what you make, what you plan to spend, and then track it on paper. Each category, for example, that we used was food. You track each expense and track your balance throughout the month. This is 2024, and many of us like to use a smartphone or a tablet or computer to budget and track our expenses. Excuse me. I like to use an app called EveryDollar. EveryDollar is put out by the Ramsey Company, but you don't have to follow the Ramsey practices, or you don't have to use the debt snowball method to pay off debt, but it's an excellent tool to plan and track your expenses. Some other apps I also have been playing with and trying out are Rocket Money and Copilot. A lot of people did use the Mint app, but that app has gone away at the end of the year. So a lot of people looking for a new app to use. I really have a hard time not using EveryDollar. Everything I've played with so far, it's the simplest, easiest to use, and that makes it so that people will actually use it on a regular basis. But EveryDollar is the name of the app, and what I've done here is I've gone down through and I've kind of rearranged some of the categories. And that's easy enough to do. For example, if you wanted to delete a certain category, all you do is swipe left and click delete. It would ask you to verify, and you can delete that category. If you want to add a category, you simply click on that, you enter the new category name, and click enter. But we're not going to do that right now. What I'm going to help you do here is we're going to go down through and we're going to set up a example of a budget for January 2024. The first part up here, as you see, is income. Here I have it set up for 2 paychecks, but I can add income or I can make it just 1 paycheck by simply swiping left and deleting. In our example, we only get paid monthly, and like we used on our paper budget example, let me go back and show you how I did that. So you click on the paycheck. You can name the paycheck whatever you want to rename that to salary. It's easy enough to do if I could spell. Okay. And you see here, this is blue. You click on the blue amount, which is plan, and you change that plan to whatever you expect your net income to be. In our case, $6,000, and you click return. So now we have a planned salary of $6,000. Moving on down the list, if you are a believer in tithing or giving to the church, and I'll talk about that at a later episode. Personally, I do believe in tithing. So what I do here is my income is 6,000. I give 600 of that to my church. And the thing about EveryDollar I really like is you see here at the top, it gives you a chance to see what you have left to budget. If you look at the top, $5,400 left to budget. So far, we have budgeted $600 to the church. I'm going to move past savings for a minute. In our example on paper, we have $1,500 going to the mortgage. Back to the budget, you see the top $3,900 left to budget has changed. In our example on paper, we combined all the utilities together. But here, let's say it's winter time, and we're going to do natural gas, 125. We're going to do 25 to electricity. It may seem kind of low, but mine is kind of low in the winter anyway. And then we're going to do 50 to water. So water is 50, natural gas is 125, electricity is 25. I'm going to leave internet alone for now. We come down to transportation, and for gasoline, we have planned $200. I'm going to leave car maintenance alone for now, but it might be a good idea to put some money aside each month for car maintenance in case that comes up. We can also do that in savings. Here I have food broken down. On our original paper budget, we had $1,000. In this example, what I'll do is spend $500, plan to spend $500 on groceries, and I'll plan to spend $500 on restaurants. Of course, if you're trying to pay off debt, the more money you can spend on groceries and the less you can spend at restaurants, you're going to come out ahead. Many people overspend by going out to eat, but maybe they should consider eating more at home. Moving on down, we have our phone, which is cell phones, depending on how many cell phones you have, what kind of service you have. In our example, I'm going to budget $150. And again, you look back at the top, we're keeping a running total. Every dollar deducts it for you. You have $2,350 left to budget. Fun money, we're going to call this entertainment. Let's say, uh, I'm just going to change that title to entertainment. And I'm going to include in here any cable TV, any subscriptions, any going out to movies and things like that. And I'm going to call that $150. Hair and cosmetics, I'm going to say $50. Subscriptions, I include that. Entertainment, so I'm going to delete that category. Moving on down, if I have a pet, maybe they need groomed, you're definitely going to need food for them during the month. So I'm going to call that $50. I'm not sure my 1-year-old Shih Tzu Pokey is worth $50 a month, but I'll keep him around for now. I'm going to delete entertainment since we already named it as a category already. Miscellaneous. Sometimes things come up that are not in the categories that you want. So I'm going to just throw in $100 miscellaneous. I suggest if you have something occur monthly that you put that in a proper category, but we're going to just say miscellaneous for now. Moving on down, we have medicine, we have doctor visits. I'm going to leave both of those budgeted at zero for the month of January. Health insurance, that may already be taken out of your paycheck. If it is in mine. Life insurance, the same thing. It's already taken out in my net paycheck, so I don't do it separately. You could go back and adjust your income to, say your health insurance was $300. You could go back and you could say your income is $6,300 and then account for the health insurance here. But I just take my net paycheck and I don't, since health insurance and life insurance are already included, I just leave those at zero plan. I do have automobile insurance. Some people pay it every 6 months, yearly, or whatever. Let's say this person pays it monthly. And we're down to 1850. If you look at the top, 1850 left to budget. So I don't have homeowners or renters insurance. I'm going to go ahead and delete that. That's already calculated in my mortgage payment. And I do have some debt. What I have is a Visa, a MasterCard, and a car. So my Visa, I currently have a balance of $5,000 like we had in our previous videos. My minimum monthly payment is $200. My MasterCard, my current balance is $7,000 like we had in our previous videos, and my monthly payment is $300 minimum. Okay, now I have $1,350 left to budget. I have a car, my current balance. I'm going to change this to, let me show you how you can do this in EveryDollar. You have the balance showing up there that you put in I did on another example. But click on debt details and you can change the balance to $30,000 like we had in our previous examples. Click save, and now our balance is $30,000 and our payment is $600. So we put in all our different categories and our planned amounts. We have $750 left to budget. A couple things I can do with this, and we'll talk about debt repayment plans, debt snowball, avalanche method. We've already talked a little bit about velocity banking, but $750 I have left over. I could go back and adjust my planned items. Say if I want to bump up one of these categories, I want to buy a new phone, I want to go on a vacation. Uh, but what I'm going to do, for right now, I'm going to put this in my emergency fund. So after I do that, you look at the top in green, it says it's an EveryDollar budget. So what would happen if I plugged in too much money somewhere? For example, in water bill, I plugged in $75. Well, now you look at the top and it says you've planned to spend $25 more than you had coming in. So when I go back and I adjust the water bill, now we have an EveryDollar budget. As we go through the month, using this manually, for example, if I go down to restaurants, I click on restaurants and I go out to eat and I spend $25. And then I have the option down here to put in the merchant's name, or I can make a note and say barbecue. And I click done. Now it shows me I have spent $25. I have $475 remaining in my budget for restaurants. And it tracks it as you go down through the month. The key thing here is just like with the paper method, you have to manually track your expenses. What you can do is look at your bank statement online, uh, and you can track it once a week. What I suggest is you track it daily. If I go eat at a barbecue restaurant, when I leave the restaurant, or even if I'm there, I will go ahead and load up the app real quick on my phone, make the input of $25. Because what happens if you don't, and then you go by the week and you don't, then you have your plan in nice and neat, but you're not tracking your expenses, and you have no idea how much money you have left. Now then, let's say we go down through the month and we spend more than what we had planned. Well, then you have to go back and you adjust it from another category, or you can just be over. But what this does, it just shows you where you are compared to what you had planned to spend. It's not a magic bullet. It doesn't fix your spending. It simply allows you to plan for every dollar, how you plan to spend it, and then if you use it to track your expenses, it shows you where you are, under budget, over budget. This is not a tool to track your checking account balance. So as an example here, I had an income of $6,000. If that's all I had in my checking account, if I go over my budget in EveryDollar, I'm going to be overdrawn on my bank account. So what I always recommend to people, if you can afford to do so, leave a cushion in your checking account of at least $200. That way, you don't worry about your checking account balance. You worry about if your spending is under or over plan. So that's a quick review of the EveryDollar app, how you can set it up, and how you can use it. Please leave me any questions in the comments. If I can help you, Michael Cox, financial coaching at gmail.com.